Hey guys, how's it going today? Living Vibrations out here again. Sorry I hadn't, put any other videos out. Just kind of been sick and stuff with the family, taking kids to the hospital, stuff like that. But I do want to, continue kind of in what I was talking about before, and that's finding your identity in Christ and what that means, in this crazy world where we find our identities in music and sports teams and just all kind of different stuff, stuff that fades away. It's hard to really find the truth and how we should act, how we should treat people, how we should treat ourselves, and we always, at all points in time, need to always look towards Christ, because that's where we should find our identities, in Christ. We should crave the things that He told us to do. We should crave righteous things, I want to talk about my man, all of our brother in Christ, lived a long time ago, back in Acts, if you read. I'm not sure what chapter. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe chapter 6 or 7. There's a man named Stephen. Everybody, a lot of people, most people, if you read the Bible, you know about Stephen. And if you don't know about Stephen in the Bible, that's cool too. He was an apostle, I guess you'd say, after Jesus had already left, and he was an awesome man. I mean, you can learn a lot by looking at Stephen's life. The little that he was talked about in the Bible, I'm sure he did other great things that weren't really talked about. But there was a time when he healed a man. I can't remember. I feel like I want to say he was a crippled man. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but it's okay because that's not really the point in the story. So he was he was in front, like basically in like a church court kind of thing, or like a temple court. He was in front of like the Sadducees and the Pharisees, and I think they call it the Sanhedrin or something like that. And they were like, "What do you have to say for yourself?" And he told them, because they were lying about him, saying that he was saying all this bad stuff about Moses and about God and Abraham, and he was telling all these lies. And he went through a story about Moses and how great it was, and about about how he does these things through Christ, right? But the coolest part is right at the end, they take him outside, they run him outside really, and they stone him. And they literally, like, we're not talking about pebbles, I mean, it's just like whatever, the biggest rock you could find, like you pick that up and you throw it at his head, basically. That's like the target zone was the head. And so as these people are stoning him, he says, "Father, please don't hold this sin against them." And then he dies. So he is literally being murdered by these people. And he doesn't say, "You're going to pay for this. You're going to rot in hell for this." No, he wishes actually the opposite of them going to hell, which he wishes that they have life, because that's what he came to do, just like what Jesus came to do. And instead of being, this hateful person in his last moments and saying like, "Father, strike these men down," or "Father, save me," he first counted it joy to die for Christ, just like he had been taught. But he told God, "Do not count this sin against them." And it's like, man, like Stephen found his identity solely in Christ. And that's like an example that we can have, and it's extreme, but like the world is extreme. Like, we have to be extreme to make our point. We have to take it to the top, because if we take it to the utmost, death, and how people see death, and the rest just follows suit. It's easy after that. And so Stephen, a man who found his identity in Christ, as we should, told God to not count these people murdering him against those people. And it's like, man, how can we ever get mad at anybody for anything? How can we ever get upset or offended at somebody? Because they're not throwing stones at our head. They're not trying to kill us. But yet Stephen, in his moment of his last words that he could possibly say, well, not his last words. His last words were, "Father, receive me," or receive my spirit, or something like that. But his second to last words were, "Please don't hold these people accountable for their sins, even though they're murdering me. Please just forgive them. And it's like, that's crazy, because that's how we should live, because there's no difference in truth. It's not like, oh, well, Stephen had a different Christ. You know, Stephen was following like this crazy, like, he needed that Christ in that time because it was just different. It was different. Now Christ is different. He doesn't need that from us. No, he does need that from us. And there might come a time in the near future where somebody, you know, is maybe not hurling stones at your head, but they may be shooting at you or trying to hang you or something for believing in Christ. And are you going to say, you know, Father, please kill this man, you know, for doing what he's done? Or are you going to say, Father, forgive this man, you know, because honestly, they don't know what they're doing? And it's like, that's the thing. How can we ever possibly get mad or offended or upset at anyone when someone cuts us off in traffic, or when someone, you know, messes up our order at the drive-thru, or a friend that we have, you know, does something shady or something, and tries to pull one over on us, or anything like that? How can we ever get mad at that person when we have to? When we as Christians, we need to find our identity in Christ. And now, I'm not saying, I understand. You know, I'm not perfect. I get mad at people all the time. I get mad at my wife. I get mad at my friends. I get mad at, you know, people that cut me off in traffic. But my thing is like, we have to start realizing that that's not okay. Because that's the most important part, is realizing, man, that wasn't okay back there. Lord, forgive me. And not feeling justified in what we had done. And so, honestly, that's my main point for today, is if a man being stoned to death can forgive these people immediately and ask God to forgive him, then how can we ever possibly get mad at people as Christians? How can we ever be offended with people as Christians without, you know, later saying, God, I was wrong there, and realizing, God, I was wrong there? Because that's what we have to do. We have to be like Christ. We have to find our identity in Christ. And when we look at Stephen, an amazing example of what a man looks like, or a woman looks like. He was a man, but just, I mean, it's equal, you know, what a person looks like when they're finding their identity in something. I mean, that's pretty heavy right there. Like, okay, Stephen found his identity in Christ. Stephen was being murdered by people with giant stones. Stephen asked God to forgive these people. Stephen wasn't mad at these people that were murdering him, you know. And it's like, man, but just remember, Christ is everything. If we are not finding our identity in Christ, if we are not living like he tells us to live, if we are not finding the fruits, imagine we're a tree, and every time we display love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, imagine a fruit popping out. If we're not a tree that has fruits popping out, you know, but instead we're just like, we have like nasty fruits popping out. They're like old and rotten, like right off the branch, like they don't even go through the ripening process or they just pop out rotten, you know. Like, that tree's gonna get cut down. That tree's not gonna last. No one wants a tree in their garden that just puts out nasty old fruit. But if you're putting out good fruit, you know, and like, of course those bad fruits are gonna, you know, come out. But see, what happens is when we say, man, that was so wrong of us, God, I can't believe that I did that, I can't believe I acted like that, God comes in and he snips that bad fruit off, and it's like, what fruit? I don't remember no fruit. Do you see a fruit? And you're like, well, I guess not. Nope, I don't see no fruit. And so, like, that's the whole point, is we have to remember what we do. We have to realize the things that we do. We have to see those things for what they truly are. We can't ever feel justified in doing things if it's the wrong thing. If you're doing something and it's unrighteous, if it's hateful, if it's arrogant, if it's prideful, if it's lustful, we need to best make sure that we see those things for the true evil that they are, and not you know, label them as Christ-like or righteous, or put Christ upon those things, or put those things upon Christ, and saying, see, look, I'm finding my identity in Christ because I just told that Muslim that he needs to go back to his home country and stop bringing his Islam over here, and you know, and he needs to rot in hell because he likes to bomb the Twin Towers and stuff like that. And it's like, no, that's not, this battle that we fight isn't a flesh and bone. It's not against people, you know. It's never been against people. It's against the people that are, it's against the principalities of darkness, you know. It's against the things that are attacking that man and making him believe what he does, and those things that are holding him down, those things that try to hold us down. You know, we're all in this together. And if we can just start to begin to realize who Christ is, find our identity in Christ like Stephen did, you know, then the world would be a lot better place, and we'd be a lot better people. we would be able to truly represent Christ. And that's what's most important about living as a Christian, you know, or as a follower of Christ, or whatever you want to call yourself, is that you put out the right representation of who Christ was. So anyways, thanks guys so much. Hopefully I'll have a video out sooner than I did this time, in a whole, I think it's been like over a week, but I'm really sorry about that. If you guys love watching my videos, I appreciate it. I hope y'all have a great day. Thanks. Bye.